Do you have continuity or association plan for your business?
Has anyone shared the concept of sustainability with you?
What about the need to protect the rights of minority shareholders?
What are those ingredients germane to having effective meetings?
For these and many more, tune into Corporate Governance Platform every Thursday on MITV, your darling station, on DSTV 255 and UHF 43 at 4:30 p.m.
Corporate Governance Platform is your best medium for informative and educative strategies for the practice of the corporate governance profession.
Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, ICSAN, the hub of governance professionals.
Corporate Governance Platform. The program is proudly brought to you by the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, ICSAN, the hub of governance professionals. And we are transmitting live from MITV Lagos. I'm Dr. Tunde Odeyemi. And in the next couple of minutes, our conversation is going to be centered around gender balance and inclusiveness. And with me in the studio to do justice to this particular topic is a very distinguished member of ICSAN, Mrs. Bunmi Adefolu, ACIS. Mrs. Adefolu is an astute, seasoned administrator, human resources practitioner, and a businesswoman in the confectionaries industry. Her work experience of over 2.5 decades spans in public relations, NGOs, and logistic business, where she brought professionalism to bear and contributes immensely to the success of these companies. She is a graduate of business administration from the University of Calabar, an associate member of ICSAN with United Kingdom qualification, an associate member of Chartered Institute of Personnel Management, and also trained in advanced human resources management at the Lagos Business School. Mrs. Adefolu presently is the head of human resources of Red Star Support Services, a subsidiary of FedEx Red Star Express PLC. She serves on the board of Caring Arts Initiatives as the company secretary, and also sits on the board of another NGO providing advisory support in activating their mandates to the general public. Mrs. Adefolu, we are glad to have you on Corporate Governance Platform.
Thank you so much. Nice being here.
Okay. We are going to be discussing gender balance and inclusiveness. Gender balance and inclusiveness. And I want our viewers to be part of the show. To be part of the show, you can either ask questions or make comments. You can do this by sending text message only to 08023231287. You have the number on the screen of your on your screen. 08023231287. Kindly put your name on the comment or the question. We are discussing gender balance and inclusiveness. There's something that is very striking about this topic. Okay. Each time we discuss gender balance, it's usually the female folks that used to champion the discussion. Why do we have that?
I think it's just appropriate to have women, discussing this, because the word we have is the word of women. Maybe I should put it like that.
Okay, let's come back to ICSAN, the Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria. Now, what is ICSAN's philosophy on the subject of diversity, gender balance, and inclusiveness, especially in the boardroom?
Okay, I think the question is a very split one that one has to dissect, in the, pick one after the other. You talk about gender diversity, balance, and also inclusiveness in the board. We should look at it as gender as, the state of being a male or female in any relations to social or cultural work that we do. And now, we also need to look at it as, so what is gender diversity? In a workplace, there must be male and female have equal opportunities so that there will be no discrimination when opportunity comes for a female to be in the board or for opportunity to be in the management. is given opportunity to be that. So that's why there must also be balance. Now, when we talk about balancing, there are different regulations that come up with different code or provisions, maybe I should put it. Now, we have the Central Bank of Nigeria. It talks about the fact that all commercial banks, Nigerian commercial banks, should have a minimum of 30 female on their board. That is, they are looking for inclusiveness of women. Now, also the Security Exchange Commission, SEC, they also look at that aspect of it by saying that when it comes to the composition of the board, there must also be, female must also be considered in that for all the public quoted companies. And also under the Code of Corporate Governance, the Nigerian Code of Corporate Governance, it also encourages that there must be a diversity. They must set a goal of diversity for women to be included in the, affairs of the company. And so putting together, now let's look at our own philosophy. But mind you, it is worthy to note that it's actually not a legal requirement, but it's just the provisions because it's a moral thing, and they want to promote to ensure that women are also being called on board. Now, having said that, for our Institute of Charter Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, we are a leading professional body that also promotes and enhances, the practice of corporate governance and also public administration. So we also subscribe to this to ensure that women are also included, so that the advantage, the benefit that is inherent in having women on board, the diversity, women are also be able to take advantage of that.
Okay, from what you have said, it's like ICSAN also supports gender balance, supports inclusiveness and diversity. Now, the question now is, ICSAN as a professional body has been in existence in the last 57 years. And the presidents of ICSAN have always been gentlemen. Why is it that we don't have a woman as a president in ICSAN?
Anyway, maybe we should say it is a coincidence, because there has never been a battle between male and female being, the president of the institute. However, I'm happy to announce that even right now, for you to see that, when it comes to gender inclusiveness, we are, ahead of this game because what is most important, which I'm supposed to mention here, is the fact that even the men that come on board, they must also be those people who have the capabilities, who have the skill sets that will be able to allow them to operate. So in this case, when you are considering who should be on the board, it should be someone of competence, someone who has, transparency or integrity as well, who has value, who has earned that value, and also is not also a position of political, position where you feel somebody or no. It has to be earned based on the qualification or what the person has to bring on the table.
Okay, irrespective of the balancing, it has to be, there has to be merit.
Yes, merit to get into.
Okay, questions are coming early on this show. I have a text message already from one Mr. Ajibola. I said, Madam, I like your explanation on gender balance. Now, should we say it is imbalance if we have 80% women and 20% men on the board? Mr. Ajibola, please kindly answer.
Anyway, it's a good question, Mr. Ajibola. Thank you for asking that question. I feel mostly, we have also discussed about the fact that it is about the competency. It's not about who the person, especially the gender as it were, but what can that person bring to the table. So if you have 80%, that means women are doing well. Don't forget that today women are on the rise, taking places, trailblazer, because I mean, we have so many women that are CEOs.
Women are actually taking control.
Yeah, we are taking control.
But the fear of Mr. Ajibola now is, if SEC code, CBN code says at least 30% of women must be represented. Now we have 80% women, 20% men. Who is protecting the men? You understand? So is it now an imbalanced situation?
No, I don't think so, because I really do not think so, because it's just the performance. You know, don't forget that performance results is what is really embedded that we must look out for when we are talking about this. So if we have 80%, the question is, how did 80% get to that level? That means, you know,
Beautiful.
people had looked into how people had, I mean, the female folks had, you know, performed, and they see that they deserve to be on that table. And so I believe that it's just one of those things. After all, sorry, you said 55, for the past 55 years, it's been
57
men.
years.
57 years, it's
been men, yes.
So when you now have 80% of women, I think it's a good to come by.
Okay, let's go back to the institute now, to ICSAN. So how would you describe women's involvement in the institute's committees and special projects of the institute? How have they been involving in or engaging the women in committees and special projects of the institute?
I think to look critically into it, Institute of Charter Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria are doing really well, because the outgoing administration of this, you know, of the institute, we have 21 members of the council members, and of which 10 are women. 10 of them are women. Then when you look at also...
Almost 50-50.
Almost 50-50, that's true. And even if we look at it at the level of the projects, you know, we have different subcommittees who are given assignment and responsibility to do different things. We also have, I think, over 7, maybe approximately 7 out of 15, that are women that have been given responsibility, and they are delivering on the mandates. So it is a good one. Then to look at our past registrars, you know, we've had 2 registrars in the person of Mrs. Nkechi Oyeso, FCIS, and also Taiwo, Mrs. Taiwo Olushesi, FCIS too. They have been the 2 past registrars. So I believe that the institute is doing.
And they've been women.
And they are women.
Okay, it's time for a man to become the registrar. Okay.
So you have to tighten your box.
You talked about the registrar. When will a woman become the registrar? I mean, the president of ICSAN?
Okay. I think I should be giving you good news here, that already, you know, the institute have elected, you know, there was election, and our first female president in the person of Mrs. Fumi Ekundayo, you know, FCIS, has emerged as the, you know, the president of the institute. So the time is now, and it's here.
So we have a woman president
We
now.
have a woman president.
Mrs. Fumi Ekundayo, FCIS.
Yes.
Tell us more about her.
Okay, Mrs. Fumi Ekundayo, FCIS, she is a Harvard, you know, alumni, and also corporate governance professional, as well as capital market practitioner.
Mrs. Fumi Ekundayo, the very first female president of ICSAN.
Yes, please.
I think we need to go on a very short break. When we come back, we continue with the discussion on gender balance and inclusiveness with Mrs. Bunmi Adefolu, ACIS. Please don't go away.
Do you have continuity or association plan for your business?
Has anyone shared the concept of sustainability with you?
What about the need to protect the rights of minority shareholders?
What are those ingredients germane to having effective meetings?
For these and many more, tune into Corporate Governance Platform every Thursday on MITV, your darling station, on DSTV 255 and UHF 43 at 4:30 p.m.
Corporate Governance Platform is your best medium for informative and educative strategies for the practice of the corporate governance profession.
Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, ICSAN, the hub of governance professionals.
You're welcome back. Before we went on break, we had the announcement that Mrs. Bunmi Ekundayo is the first female president of ICSAN. Our investiture is going to be coming up on 11th of July, Tuesday, 11th of July, 2023, at Eco Hotel and Towers, Victoria Island, Lagos, 11 a.m. Attendance, however, is strictly by invitation. If you are invited, please kindly grace the investiture of the very first female president of ICSAN. I think this calls for big celebration.
Absolutely.
Mrs. Bunmi Ekundayo, FCIS, investiture on Tuesday, 11th of July, 2023. Now, what do you think that the emergence or the election of Mrs. Bunmi Ekundayo, FCIS, as the president of the institute will help in encouraging female inclusiveness in the institute?
I want to believe so. Thank you for that question. I think, now that we already have her on board, I want to believe that a lot of women will come on board, female gender will come on board to also want to serve, because the fact that, because this is a vote of confidence that she could also be able to get to that level, means that there is a diverse, what's it called now, gender inclusiveness in it. That means it also gives other people confidence that if they have opportunity, they will also get there. All is needed is that what are the things that they need to bring on board so that they will be able to get to that level. So it will inspire more female members to participate in serving, at the institute. I want to believe so.
To inspire more female members to participate, what signal is he also sending to the young graduates of the institute?
Okay.
That we now have a very, very first female president. What signal is he sending to the young graduates of the institute about what we have now? A woman has emerged as the very first female president of the institute. Then in the institute, we have young graduates, we have female folks, and the rest. You have talked about the female folks. What about the young graduates?
Okay. I think for young graduates, a lot of people, growing up, look up to have a mentor, look up at someone they can aspire at. And so having her, because if you look at her trajectory, you'll see that she has done a lot of things. I mean, she had moved, because when she was working with the Sky Trustees as general manager,
okay,
business development, she rose to the position of the MD. And for somebody to have rose to the position of MD, and the fact that the vast education that she had will also encourage and build many people to also say that, I want to be like her. And because people want to be like her, there's something to look at as a role model. So I believe it will also help a lot more to inspire them, to encourage them, to also want to build their own career. So for the institute, it will be a plus for this, young graduates, associates to also grow to the level that they will also become one. To also give an example, at our different state chapters, we also have different women who are also leading. I want to remember some of those, female chapter chairmen. Okay. We have the Linda Onofeli, we have Jacqueline Odiade, we have Abiola Lasende. Even in Abuja, in our different state level, we have women there. You also have the likes of Bolaji Gabal. You also have at Port Harcourt. It's still at the chapter level. The chairman of that is, we also have Celine Okoroma. So these are inspiration, that women, we are making a move, we are taking the giant bold steps, to get to where we are going. So Mr. Ekundayo being there now, we encourage a lot more people to want to also aspire to be there.
Okay, that is on the side of ICSAN. Now on the side of corporate Nigeria, How long do you think we need to wait for women to be given fair representation in corporate Nigeria?
Okay. I think we do not have to wait any longer, because if you look at, around us, you see a lot of women, that have become different things. For example, if you look at the banking industries, we have so many in Fidelity Bank and some of the, even IBTC, you have women at the helms of affairs, at the board level, operating and directing affairs. So also to look at in government, we've had our former minister, that's Madam Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. She has also, risen to the position as a World Trade Organization leader today. And what does that mean is that, the sky is just a stepping stone for any woman. All we needed to do is that we should get what it takes for us to get there, and before we know, we'll really get there. Many names, if I want to mention, our another icon, Mrs. Ibukun Awoshika, and many other. Even in my own organization, we have women that are rising, to high level on the board. So the time is now. So all women needs to do is that to take, the horn by the bull by getting the necessary education, the skill sets that they need, so that they can also be able to do that. Okay,
I have a question from one Mrs. Mojisola Adeni. She's asking, though this is about politics anyway. She said, why is it that women don't support themselves in politics?
Anyway, we could say, people have said politics is a dirty game, so to say.
Okay.
And maybe that could probably make a lot of women to take reverse. But in looking at it, a lot of women are still also coming on board. The governor of Kwara State, the former elected one, and so many other ones. We are seeing women coming on board. But maybe I should also cite the fact that, sometimes women take the back seat to give the men the lead, to support them from the behind. Maybe those could be the reason. But politics of today, you have them having meetings late in the night, which a good woman would not want to do that. So those probably could have been the reason why women are not featuring well in politics.
Okay, that is understanding. I think Mrs. Mojisola Adeni will take that. Now, what advice do you have for corporate entities in Nigeria, especially on the issue of gender diversity? I want you to talk to the general public, advise them on the issue of gender diversity.
Okay, I think the good news is the fact that we have a level playing ground for any woman to come on board.
Okay.
And with that, all women needs to do is, what does it take to be at the level that they want to be or they aspire to be? And having said that, we also have, globally, that, is gaining momentum that women should also, be on board. Remember the inclusion plan, that gender inclusion, that it is allowed now that women should be take part. Yes, it's not law in Nigeria, but in some other countries, they made it mandatory for them, to have women on board. And so with that, so for women, it's just for them to rise up to the responsibility, have what is needed, and, we must reject bias. Because sometimes there are bias that make women to feel like, and break the barriers, and break the stereotype. It's the men's word as well. No, we have to make it our own way. And so for every woman out there, you should be able to achieve what you want to achieve by getting what you need to achieve. So when the opportunity presents itself, you are able to grab it and be able to become somebody in life.
One last question that should be answered in less than 1 minute. Do you see a woman becoming the president of Nigeria?
Absolutely. Yes, with every force of the men around, a woman can be who they want to be. All they need is, determination, ensure that they have the ethics, because because you see how they open the kind of worms when people want to get to government. If you have a very strict record, you have the ethics, you have the capability and all that, you'll be able to get to where you want to. And someday, someone, maybe me, I'll
Maybe
be the
you.
president.
Thank you very much. Okay, that is the much we can take on this episode: gender balance and inclusiveness. And of course, Mrs. Bunmi, Esther Adefolu, ACIS, has really done justice to this discussion. I want to thank you very much, madam, for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Maybe one of these days we invite you again to come and share your thoughts on another topic.
Thanks.
And for our viewers out there, thank you very much for being on the show. It's been interesting, and we invite you to join us next week, same station, same time. And I remain Dr. Tunde Odeyemi. But before I leave, let me give you this quote from late Kofi Annan, former Secretary General of United Nations. He said, "Gender equality is more than a goal in itself. It's a precondition for meeting the challenge of reducing poverty, promoting sustainability, and building good governance." That was a fantastic quote from late Kofi Annan, former Secretary General of the United Nations. See you next week. Bye for now.
Do you have continuity or association plan for your business?
Has anyone shared the concept of sustainability with you?
What about the need to protect the rights of minority shareholders?
What are those ingredients germane to having effective meetings?
For these and many more, tune into Corporate Governance Platform every Thursday on MITV, your darling station, on DSTV 255 and UHF 43 at 4:30 p.m.
Corporate Governance Platform is your best medium for informative and educative strategies for the practice of the corporate governance profession.
Institute of Chartered Secretaries and Administrators of Nigeria, ICSAN, the hub of governance professionals.